Is this fun to walk on these bumpy lands? That's Indian country.
Hey, buddy, look at mommy. Jack, look at mommy. Cheese. That's a good one. Oh, I like that picture.
And now we can throw the ashes.
I don't know.
I want to do it soon because I want to do it.
Whatever it is you'd like to say, whether it be a little story or just a word that reminds you of her, or whatever it might be, and just then to hold the shoe. And so there's no pressure, nobody has to participate, but then whoever would like to, as the spirit moves you, to just take the shoe from the one who's holding it and then say whatever you'd like to say. And we'll just do that until we're finished. And then we thought that we could release her ashes into the mountains as she requested and sing America the Beautiful. And perhaps then have a time of silence for each of us to just pray or meditate or whatever we would like to do in remembrance of Mom and Grandma Joe. Okay, does that sound all right?
That's beautiful.
And Jackie, being the firstborn, would like to begin. And after that, really, I invite everybody to just participate as you wish, and please don't feel pressured.
There's so much about our mother, but I want to say this. Our mom taught me about atoms and molecules and the solar system and Darwin. And I don't know if she knew she was doing this, but maybe that was my first step on my journey for looking infinitely in and infinitely out. And I thank her for that.
What I hadn't realized, very, very sadly to me, until the passing of Mom, is how much she had an impact on my life and how profoundly I realized that I love her. And I don't have the words to express beyond that.
I'd like to share the song I gave to Mom for a Mother's Day present just a few years ago, and that was one of the last things that I shared with her. Jackie, it possibly was the last thing that I shared with her.
I think it was.
When, before she passed, the last exchange we had was my singing her Mother's Day song to her. So I would like to share it at this time. Mother is a word that sings like a melody to me. The memories still play upon my mind. I still can feel the comfort of your arms, your gentle touch, your soft voice as I sat upon your knee. You soothed away the little hurts with whispered word and song, and no child has known a sweeter sound than when you sang to me. Oh, mother, so I give this song to you. Mother is a word that Mother is a word that I'll finish it later, I'm sorry.
That was good.
Like Matt, I didn't realize right away how much Mom influenced my life. But I seem to be kind of following in her footsteps with different career changes, and I was extremely proud when I finished school at age 50 and beat her by 9 years. And would tell her story to my friends, you know, kind of, if they complimented me, you ain't seen nothing. My mother did the same thing, but she had 9 kids first. And she taught me not only is pretty much anything possible, you just have to think about what you really want and start going for it, but also that the journey itself is something to treasure. The single moment that she was in always meant more to her than anything else. And I hope I keep remembering that.
Linda, I'm going to try again.
Good for you.
This might have to be in 3 sets. Mother is a word that tells me truly just what giving means. A giving that seemed to have no end. You wanted everything for me with nothing in return. Your joy was all in giving joy to me. And with rarely but a thank you, you labored through the night. And your days were never free, but always sacrificed for me. Oh, Mother, so I give this day to you. Mother is to know there is someone who is always there for me. You built me up even when I failed. You only thought but good of me with nothing in return. Your joy was all in giving joy to me. And Mother is a word that speaks love in 1,000 ways to me. The more you gave, the more you had to give. One by one I number ways that you have shown your love, and I find that there are more than I can count. You loved so unconditionally, so like our Father's love. Our Lord made you an example of what love is all about. Oh, Mother, so I give my love to you.
There are so many stories. There'll be lots of times to share more of them, but here's a little one that I want to tell. And And there was a wonderful young priest. Those of you who were there at Alma's funeral may remember that young priest. And at the wake the night before, he had asked all of us about our grandma, and he did a wonderful job then of doing the funeral and incorporating wonderful stories about her into that. And later on, not too much later, maybe a year or two later, when I decided to go to seminary, I told Mom that young priest had taught me so much about how to conduct a funeral. That you listen to people, you talk to the family, you incorporate that person's life into that final day when you're all saying goodbye. And that's when she told me that young priest had died. And I said, oh gosh, I wish he could know how much he taught me. And she said, he does know. And so I think that she knows that we're all here today.
Yep.
Well, I think everybody here knows that our mother was not perfect. In fact, we probably all know as we would be looking at the wildflowers and looking at the beautiful view, that what she would be saying is, coffee somewhere around here.
Yes, did anybody bring a coffee?
They have a place where you can
Where's my lighter?
I have a couple of other memories that point out that she wasn't a perfect person, but because I remember those things so well, I really think she gave me some important lessons with that. When she was going to college, she took a drawing class. Most of us know our mother kind of stunk at drawing, but she was not about to put up with a failing grade, so she asked various of her children to draw things for her. Joellen, cover your ears.
She was a fine lady.
Also, I remember a few years earlier, when she decided to go back to college, one of the very first classes she took was German. Excuse me, she was born in Germany. She was raised speaking German. She would come home and brag, I got an A+ on my German test. Well, duh, Mom, of course. But these things really taught me, you do not always have to do the hardest thing. You have to do what you have to do to reach your goals, and you have to do what pleases you. And I think that was a very important thing, and I'm so glad Jana learned that lesson as well. Can I do one right here? You can do one.
Well, this happened just this year. Even she's with us. She was with me on my birthday, and I got to be a part of it. She was my big wish. And even though a lot of people have been around when you've gotten married, and since she's kind of still right here, I'm going to say it again. A lot of people's heard me speak in the talent. I'm just going to say right here, right now, bottoms up.
In honor of Grandma?
In honor of Grandma.
Well, I have to shoot, so I'll go ahead and say something. Joe was a wonderful mother-in-law, and I never ever had a sense that I had anything to prove when I was in her presence. She always accepted me for who I was at that moment. And often in our conversations, she could make me feel like I was the only person in the room. And I loved her for that.
Growing up, I always referred to Grandma Joe, well, I think especially as I became an adult, I referred to Grandma Joe as my fun grandma. As one of her grandchildren, well, first of all, when I was a little kid, she lived somewhere with a swimming pool, and she always had candy, and she always had sugar cereal, which was not allowed in my house.
It was never allowed in our house.
Or in ours. It is now.
And we did acrobatics with her, and there were always fun times. And in fact, one of my best memories of my cousin Jason Wildhagen was when we were growing up and we had a slumber party weekend at Grandma's. And I don't even remember if there were any other adults there or what the deal was, or if Grandma was watching us, but she let us stay up past midnight, and we were running around like looking out the windows because we were so excited that we got to stay up past morning. And it was one of my earliest memories of staying up late watching a movie and just having the simple joys of kind of breaking the rules. And I got to do that a lot with Grandma. So, many, many fun memories from my childhood.
I actually have one more thing to say because you mentioned Jason. Jason, in our wonderful memory book that we did for my mom's 80th birthday, wrote the story that she would invite the grandkids over and she would take a huge jar of pennies and pour it onto the middle of the room and let the kids just kind of wallow in pennies. This was just such an absurd, beautiful treat. And I remember as a kid, when the penny thing started, she used to tell us she was saving for a mink coat. I don't know if the rest of you remember that. I don't think she was really saving for a mink coat, but it took me until I was like 45 to realize it was not for a mink coat. She was just saving. She had some tough times in her life, and even though she lived in the moment, she did try to plan for emergencies, and Lord knows she had plenty of them. So,
well, I kind of view Mom as she lived by the seat of her pants.
That's another way of saying in the moment.
Yes, but seat of the pants is a little more appropriate. She did have 9 kids, did have some challenges that she lived through, and I'm proud to say I got a little bit of the old seat of the pants girl in me. Although I don't have challenges. Actually, also the same thing that made Mom be the seat of the pants girl made her be very impetuous. I'm sure you guys heard the story. I might have to do 2 parts like Mom did. But when we were moving here, I asked Mom if she would come here because we weren't going to make the move without her. I swear to you, no sooner did I ask the question, she said, at first I would say, why would I? Then I would say, why wouldn't I? Okay, I'll go. I mean, it was that fast. So that's kind of course, we had a lot of great years. We were lucky that Mom got to live close to us and a lot of great fun stuff. So,
You also made her very accessible to the rest of us.
Yes.
That's very true. That was wonderful for us too.
it's hanging around if anybody wants it.
I would like one little other piece. Somebody said movies. To this day, I have a love for old movies especially, but movies. And the sense of companionship and oneness that I had back when I was maybe 10, 11. Mom would be staying up to watch the old movies. And Dad would have drowned himself first before he'd stay up for an old movie. And she liked a companion, and I got to stay up with her even on some school nights, watching the late movie. And the late movie didn't come on until the late news, so I'd be up till midnight or something watching the late movie. And while I loved that, the watching the movie and staying up, the memory that carried on and does carry on is that memory of feeling that coziness with Mom, where it was just the two of us. And yeah, in the household with 9 kids, there are very seldom those one-on-one times with Mom. And I felt them many times in those rooms. And we shared many of the same of the old movies. But far more than sharing the movies, it was sharing her presence, just myself, that was just so special.
I don't know how the rest of my siblings can relate to this, maybe identically, maybe way differently, but one of my greatest memories of our grandfather, Mom's dad, was the fact that he didn't say much, at least to kids. He didn't say anything. I don't think he spoke a sentence to me in my entire life. I don't think he ever called me Matt. I don't think he called me hey you. But you know what? I knew how much Grandpa adored all of us. And there was a part of Mom. There were a lot of times that I spent with Mom that we didn't say very much. And a lot of times where things were said and not much was said. And what I've really realized is that in many respects I've got an awful lot of the same traits. And because I find myself, what is it, Judy? I think that Mom had stated that one time when we were asking her to come out and visit over at your house just a little bit longer because we'll have pizza and whatnot, and she said, you know what? I don't mind being alone. And Mom didn't mind being just quiet and being around, even with a big group. And that part is something that I will never forget about her, and it was duly passed on from her father.
Okay, give me one more time.
You're allowed.
She wasn't perfect, but she learned, but I told you she taught me way in and way out. Also, I remember one of the last things she said to some of us as a group is, I think you're all nuts.
As you all know, Wayne and I just moved to Maine not very long ago, and Wayne's job that last weekend when we were moving was to make a lot of trips to the dumpster and a lot of trips to the resale shop. But there was one thing that did not go, and it's an item that I haven't worn for probably 25, maybe 30 years. You all know how Mom was. She was so busy all the time, but every now and then she would focus on accomplishing something. And I had no idea she was doing this, but when it was like a year after I graduated from college, she saw a pattern for crocheted gaucho pants and a poncho, and she made it for me.
They're in again.
I have some, but not those. She made it for me for a Christmas present. I don't have the gaucho pants anymore, but I have the poncho. It's gold and orange and brown, so you know what era it was made in, and it got moved to Maine.
She was right. We are all nuts.
Yeah, but we inherited it from someplace. I think a couple of places, quite frankly.
Yeah,
I think
For
those
the
gene
moment.
currents that flowed to the pool were all like
Is there anybody else?
I'm just curious, does anybody else have any other of Mom's artwork from art class? You do? Yeah, so do I.
I have a leaf.
I have I've got a piece of pottery that the one that she was the most proud of because it was it's kind of this, it's a green jar with a lid, and the lid actually fit on, and she said, not everybody's lids work. My lid.
I have a really cool story of hers. Jessie and I went to visit her, and the day we arrived, she said, "Oh, Winnie, I am so glad to see you, but I'm really sorry. I'm going to have to finish this paper tonight. I'll take you and Jessie across the street. They've got some video games. And I'm going to stay here and finish this paper, and my secretary has promised to come in early tomorrow and type it for me." And, you know, she was paying her secretary a little extra, and I got to say, "Mother, how long have you known about this paper?" To which she replied, "Comedian."
Oh, one of Mom's great lines.
Yes.
Comedian.
And by the way, that's one of the things that John Neiman quotes her on frequently. Comedian.
And the other thing is, Neiman, that means nobody.
That's just what she said to him.
The first time she met him.
You too.
Well, she certainly was a character.
And she loved this country, and I don't mean that so much in a patriotic sense. I can say that when we were in Germany together with Jackie, the relatives would ask her if she was ever sorry that she moved, and she said, and she would be very polite to them, you know, and say, "Oh, this is such a wonderful." No, but back in our hotel room, she said, I'm glad I didn't stay here."
I'm not craning my neck for another damn German.
But she didn't, she loved this country, and I don't mean that as much in a patriotic sense as I do mean the beauty. That's why she drove across the country as she did to see all of us, and this was her song. And she wanted it at her funeral service, and they did play it, but what she loved about it were the words. And most of us here are at least make attempts at singing. So, Mom, this is for you.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies. skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for pilgrim feet, whose stern impassioned stress a thoroughfare for freedom beat across the wilderness. America, America, God mend thine every flaw, confirm thy soul in self-control, thy liberty in law. Oh, beautiful for heroes through in liberating strife, who more than self their country loved, and mercy more than life. America, America, may God thy home refine, till all success be nobleness, and every gain divine. Oh, beautiful for patriot dream that sees beyond the years, thine alabaster cities gleam, undimmed by human tears. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea.
I don't think I'm going to be too. Who would like to? Sons-in-law?
Or sons. Anything you like.
We didn't plan this part.
Well, I'll pick it up.
Okay.
I think she'd like that.
Where's the, you want us to go with that?
When it's time to get up, help me out.
It's
Do
just
you want me
about
to do this?
Okay. Wait, maybe I can get up. You'll help me walk.
Yeah, okay.
The lane waiting.
Okay.
lane.
I will help.
Okay, I think here's good. Wind distance. Probably not. I'd like to. Father, you know our mom and always have, as you know us. But maybe even a little better. She's there in your presence. And isn't it one of those miracles? There's a spirit is here with us. Just ask that you bless this time and you bless her memory in the ways that are appropriate. This special
Keys.
Larry's
Maybe some keys.
Larry's got one. Wait. That's enough. Linda, did you want to participate in this? Yeah, everybody can. We stand down this way, they're going to change a little bit.
Just squeeze the bag.
majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and now thy earth will brother from sea to shining sea.
Hey guys, look at me and say cheese. Aw, come on, buddy. Oh, I'm a lot bigger than you, but it's still hard.
Dad, 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 Dad. Mimi, Mimi. Mimi, come here.